Now you can actually group by category. See what happened here? The mails where my name is the only name have that word hi written there, and say group by this field, and then there will be two groups, one with no category, one with green category. Simple. Right now we have only two groups. How do you collapse the group, by the way? Click there. In older version it was double click, now it's single click, but never mind. Suppose there are two groups, you can click twice. But if there are 18 groups, please don't click 18 times. So what do we do? There must be a better way. So what do you do? Independent of knowing, I don't even know how many groups are there, but I want to collapse all of them. So that's right. Another method of learning is, when in doubt, right click and read all options. Almost 100% guarantee whatever you're looking for will be there. So the first one is what you want, collapse all. So this works whether there are 100 groups or 2. So bottom line is, when you have classified it like this, only finish this. Unless you have finished this, don't go to the other category. Simple and effective way of prioritizing. What does that mean in simple terms? If someone depends on you for an input or action, they will start getting faster response from you. Earlier what would have happened? You had done this on time. Notice what is happening? You would handle this mail and this mail and this mail, and to reach this guy will take half an hour because you will get interrupted. Some meeting, some phone call. Now we are categorizing by something else. So now you will handle that mail much earlier. What does that mean? Everyone responds faster. What does that mean? Execution speed improves. So whatever your company is into, everyone will start speeding up their life without taking any extra effort, because this effort is Outlook which is doing it. So that's how we prioritize. Now I don't have time to show you all the rules, but just to give you an idea, this is just one rule. If you want, you can create more rules. So first rule was sent only to me, mark it as high, stop processing more rules. Next rule is my name is in the to box, another color, stop processing. Then CC, and if it is not in the to box, that means it's BCC. So if you do this, you will have 4 categories instead of 2, and that's how you handle it. Any questions? Alright, now there is one more very important thing. How many of you use the task folder? Task. We use inbox, we use calendar. Yes. So when you say you use the task folder, your own work you put in the task folder, correct? Do you delegate work? Everyone delegates. How is that remembered? I can use task folder for my work, that's fine. Very good. So I create a task for myself. I will do that whenever required. Done. But how do I delegate work? By sending a mail typically, isn't it? So if you have to give someone some work, what do? Just create a normal regular mail and then send it. Now if I send this to my assistant saying something like this, where does this go? It goes to my assistant, of course, but in my mailbox, where does it go? Sent items. That's the most unvisited place in the world. Nobody goes to sent items, correct? Why? Because there are thousands of mails. We don't even know what happens there. Agreed? Unless there is a dispute and you want to figure out what it is, and then you go and search. But delegation is not a dispute. It's no routine. So when 10 days are passed, are you going to remember that this is delayed? Most probably not. But there is 100% guarantee that other party knows that you can't monitor. Yes or no? And that is why accountability is less, execution speed goes down. And there is no monitoring, how will you get quality, compliance? So this is the wrong way to do it. Don't do it. So obviously, what is the correct way? Correct way is much simpler than this. Go to task, because you are talking about task. Whether you do it or someone else does it, that's the only question. Create a new task, like a regular task. As of now, if I save it, it's my task. But wait, do not put the deadline here. Put the deadline here. And then which button should we use? Assign task. But before that, of course, when you say send, you can always, this is smart. This does not allow you to put more than one person's name here. Why? Because if you delegate to two people, they can give each other's excuse and say, I thought that guy is doing it. So if you send it to assistant, assistant can send it to assistant's assistant. That's fine, but it's one level at a time, not two people. So that's that. Now, how do you put a deadline? Just simple but effective. How do you put a deadline, by the way? I tell you, there is a review meeting on the last Friday of April. How will you put that here? I want this report on last Friday of April. You will go here, you will go to April, you will go to Friday, search, and then click. Yes or no? Because we don't think there can be any other method, we have to assume this is effective. But let me tell you, what do you really want? Last Friday, April. Now is it more effective? I want it in 10 days. Today is Monday, I want it by Wednesday. I want it after 1 year. I want it after 1 year and 3 months. 3rd Tuesday of August. Sometimes our deadline is passed. So bottom line is, exactly the way we describe the deadline to each other is understood by Outlook. The problem is that part is not understood by us. So we struggle with that. In fact, many people are so frustrated with business applications. You see typical business application where you have to enter date. You have to know exact syntax. Now date has a syntax. You can't put just 3. You have to put 0, 3. And then the forward or backward slash also matters. Sometimes forward slash will give you an error, sometimes backslash will give you an error. Some people expect dash. Now if I do that, even now I am not sure whether it is going to take it as 3rd February or 2nd March. So all sorts of things. So see how lenient Outlook is. Do you think any application will accept this? This guy does. So if any of you are technical, there is a lot to learn from Office. Not from Office point of view, but how to design applications which adapt themselves to users rather than other way.
So does that apply to any date field in Office?
Yes, within Outlook, yes. Other products don't accept dates, and Excel is a completely different ballgame. But yes, within Outlook, any date, yes. And in fact, this is available as an ActiveX control for developers to use. None of the developers know about it, so using it is a far cry. And this is available for last 12 years.
How would you create a recurring appointment?
Very nice. Let me show you. As I said, again, let's say there is a review meeting on the first Monday of every month, something like that. So create a task. As usual, assign it to someone and say recurrence. Recurrence is a common dialogue, I think, across Office. You say it's a monthly task, happens on the first Monday of every month, and say starting and ending date. So it will create it and it will go.
You can't just type it into the date field.
No, recurrence is a more complex thing. So it has to go through a dialogue. Okay, now the question is, I did send it to the other guy, but what happens there? That person doesn't get it as a mail. That person will get it as a task request, similar to an appointment or meeting request, and there will be accept, reject button on it. When the person puts it as accept, the task becomes a task in that person's folder. But suppose the person doesn't respond at all, doesn't say accept, doesn't say reject, doesn't do anything. Still, the task gets included in your task folder also. So even if the other party doesn't respond, you don't have to go to sent items to follow it up. You go to task folder, which you anyway are using for your work. Now there will be mixture of your tasks and delegated tasks in task folder. It will get crowded and mixed up. So you see this icon. This icon means your work. This icon means someone else's work. But again, by looking at that icon, you don't know which the person is. It can't put the photo of the person there. So what do? You go to views, and there is a view called by person responsible. Now when you do that, it groups it by the person. So now you know all the people whom you have ever done any delegation to. Open this and it will tell you all tasks, what is complete, what is pending, and what is delayed. Is that useful? But that doesn't solve one problem. Traditionally, this feature is there for last 12-15 years, but nobody has used it. So the other side, people are used to assuming that you can't monitor. So you have to prove it to them now that you can monitor. So how do you do that? Whenever someone calls you for some completely unrelated reason, quickly go to this view and say, okay, now that discussion is over, what about these two things? Do that couple of times. Now people wake up and say, now this has to be done, and then teach them this. So it goes top down and the entire organization uses it. Efficiency cannot be done ground up, it has to be top down.
How
Okay.
are you zooming in and out on that screen?
Okay, how am I zooming? Okay. Simple answer is I have a mouse which has an extra button
Okay.
which can be mapped to zoom, but without the mouse also you can zoom in exactly the same way if you have Windows Vista or Windows 7. So in both of these, if you press Windows key, that Windows logo key next to the Alt key, along with the plus key, you will zoom in, and Windows key minus will zoom out. And there are 3 modes in that. This is called a magnifier. There are 3 views: full screen, lens, and docked. When you are giving a live demo like this, you use full screen mode. If you are teaching, then you use lens mode. So only where your cursor goes, it will magnify it, so people can remember the context of the overall screen. In full screen mode, suddenly you go full screen, and in the zoomed place, people don't know where am I, in the top left corner, middle, right corner. So for demo it works well, but not for teaching. If you are teaching, use this, so the context is shown. And there is a third view which is called docked view. This view was available even in Windows XP. It was there in programs, accessories, accessibility, magnifier, where it's a strip on top which you can move anywhere you like, and again it is like a lens, but a static lens. So when do you use this view? Because this was originally designed, it comes under accessibility, so this was designed for people with eyesight problems. But assuming you don't have eyesight problems or it's already corrected, it's still useful. Tell me a practical reason, situation where you would like to use this. You're neither teaching nor demonstrating, you're on your own, on your laptop, but you would like to use this view. It will give you some benefit. When do you think this will be useful?
Drawing.
Jenny?
Drawing. So you can see.
Drawing, okay, maybe, yeah. Generally drawing things will have their own inbuilt zoom. Here everything gets zoomed, not just the surface of document. If it's your own laptop, you have no eyesight problem, nobody else is looking at it, why do you need a magnifier? You can see your laptop screen anyway. So the question you have to ask is, under what circumstances the laptop screen suddenly becomes difficult to visualize?
When you're trying to share it with somebody?
Yes, maybe. Sometimes people just crowd over your desktop and see what's happening. So that's one place. But more common, when you're traveling, when you yourself are unstable, your laptop is also unstable. So when you're traveling in a car or a train and working, things are not as stable as in office. So that time this view is very useful. Okay, so let's go further. So bottom line is, use tasks for yourself and for other things as well. So a simple, when you go to a calendar, what do you see? Generally when you come to office, you see calendar. Normally what do you see? You see either daily view or weekly view, something like that. Am I right? So let's say we look at the day view, and now it looks like I have 3 hours and 3 hours free. Is it actually free? Assuming you have a task folder as well, your work is in the task folder, your appointments are in calendar. Just because you don't have an appointment does not mean you don't have work. Where is your work listed? In task folder. But what does the external world think? You are free, so they will request appointments. because free busy time is visible to everyone. And you also don't get exact picture of how much time you are utilizing where.